Analytical foundation. How AI builds strategic intelligence from zero. Building strategic intelligence from zero inside AI-powered analysis. From 0 to 20 strategic documents, watch the AI work. This is an empty chat window. No data loaded, no company information provided, no insider knowledge. By the end of this video, this AI assistant will have produced 20 strategic documents about a real company, mapping its identity, classifying 28 hostile entities across 4 threat levels, calculating that 4 of those entities are existential enemies requiring 160 to 200% of the company's capacity, and reading the complete strategic situation against historical models of power dynamics. I'm going to show you exactly how that happens. Every prompt you see is real. Every output is real. The methodology directing this analysis is strategy by AI. And what you are about to watch is the analytical foundation, models 2, 3, and 4. If you haven't seen the first video, what this assessment ultimately concluded about De Beers, I'd recommend watching that first. Link is in the description. This video shows you how we got there. Setting up the workspace. First, the setup. I'm working in Claude, but this works identically in ChatGPT, Gemini, or any AI assistant with a large enough context window. The methodology is AI platform independent. That's a design principle, not a limitation. I create a new project workspace and begin by uploading the relevant model. Each model in Strategy by AI is a standalone text file, plain UTF-8 text, no special software, no plugins, no API keys. You upload it like you'd attach any document to a conversation. Model 2 is called Learn Yourself. Its job is to establish the organization's strategic identity through 3 lenses: strategic mission, what the organization exists to do and what it's committed to; strategic history, what capabilities, patterns, and lessons 138 years of operation have produced; and strategic doctrine, the principles, approaches, and decision-making frameworks the organization actually follows, whether it admits to them or not. The model contains the analytical framework, the definitions, the historical models for comparison, and the prompt sequences. Everything the AI needs to conduct the analysis is in this file. Model 2, Learn Yourself. The first prompt activates the strategic mission analysis. I specify the subject, De Beers UK, and the AI begins working through the framework's prescribed questions. What is the organization's vision? What conditions does it operate under? What interventions is it attempting? What is its fundamental vocation, the thing it exists to do that defines success and failure? Now watch what happens. The AI doesn't produce a Wikipedia summary. It produces a structured intelligence assessment. It identifies De Beers' primary mission as maintaining natural diamond premium positioning and cultural relevance. Then it tests that mission against reality and immediately finds contradictions. Here, the AI identifies that De Beers' stated mission requires capabilities the organization doesn't possess and cannot develop quickly enough: mass market brand leadership, retail excellence, digital engagement. These are what the mission demands. What De Beers actually has is mining operational expertise, a Botswana partnership, and 138-year-old brand name. The mission capability gap is the first strategic finding, and via one document in Identity Integration. 4 foundational documents of Module 2 demonstrate complete mission history doctrine incoherence. The mission requires capabilities that history didn't build. The history reveals patterns that contradict the mission, and there's no explicit doctrine to resolve the contradiction. De Beers has an identity crisis, and until it resolves that crisis, no strategy can be coherent. 4 documents, strategic identity mapped, and we now have the foundation for everything that follows, because Model 3's enemy classification depends on knowing what the organization's mission actually is, so you can determine which threats make that mission impossible. Model 3 is called Learn Your Enemy. It produces 9 documents, the largest output of any single model, and it begins with a classification system that I think is the methodology's sharpest analytical contribution. The methodology doesn't treat all competitors as competitors. It distinguishes 4 categories with precise definitions. Aliens, entities whose impact is latent, future, not yet directly threatening. Rivals, entities contesting in parallel, but whose success doesn't require your destruction. Adversaries, entities in active confrontation over significant assets but survivable. And enemies, entities whose fundamental business model or strategic objectives require your elimination, displacement, or radical transformation. The confrontation is existential. Compromise is impossible. This isn't semantics. The distinction determines resource allocation. You manage rivals. You contest adversaries. You fight enemies with everything you have. Misclassifying an enemy as an adversary means under-resourcing an existential threat. Misclassifying an adversary as an enemy means wasting resources on a survivable problem. De Beers, as we'll see, makes both errors simultaneously. The hostile environment assessment. The AI scans De Beers' competitive environment using publicly available intelligence. Corporate filings, financial reports, industry research, trade press, government statements. The methodology prescribes a minimum of 20 to 30 significant entities. The AI identified 28. Then it classifies each one. Watch these. 4 enemies. Lab-grown diamond producers. Their business model requires the destruction of natural diamond premiums. Price transparency platforms. Their value proposition requires eliminating the information asymmetry De Beers depends on. The government of Botswana, escalating from adversary to enemy status as resource nationalism intensifies, with the president explicitly stating the goal of full control over the asset and value chain. And Anglo-American, De Beers' own parent company, whose divestiture process has consumed 60% of organizational capacity. 8 adversaries: Tiffany, Cartier, Blue Nile, private entity bidders, and others, significant but survivable. 9 rivals, 7 aliens, including blockchain platforms, synthetic biology, and quantum computing applications at the far horizon. But the critical output isn't the classification. It's what happens next. The capacity mathematics. Document 8 is the resource allocation audit. The methodology calculates how much organizational capacity each enemy requires. Each enemy level threat demands 40 to 50% capacity. For enemies, that's 160 to 200%. De Beers has 100%, and 60% of it is already consumed by the Anglo divestiture. This is the calculation that changes everything. It's not an opinion, it's arithmetic. And it leads directly to the strategic triage, the recognition that De Beers cannot fight on all fronts and must choose where to concentrate. Document 7 visualizes this as a confrontation hierarchy map. 28 entities plotted across 2 dimensions: existential importance vertically, intensity horizontally. 4 entities in the enemy zone, and the most striking finding on the map, Anglo-American, the parent company, is the only entity marked as over-allocated, 60% of capacity consumed, versus the 15% recommended. De Beers is spending 4 times the recommended resources on managing its parent, while spending less than 10% on the enemy that will determine whether the company survives. Enemy profiles and scenarios. Document 9 through 13 complete the hostile environment portfolio. Let's go to prompt 7, enemy profiles. Watch this. Document 9 produces detailed strategic profiles of each enemy, their capabilities, their vulnerabilities, their trajectory. It is the foundational document for the company's survival. In case you don't recognize who your enemies are, you are certainly doomed, whatever brilliant strategy your experts and consultants serve on your table. Document 10 characterizes each conflict, type, intensity, escalation probability. Document 11 models outcome scenarios, victory conditions, defeat conditions, contingency path. Document 12 constructs the multi-front confrontation strategy, how to sequence engagements when you can't fight everyone simultaneously. Document 13 establishes a threat monitoring and early warning system with specific indicators to verge. 9 documents from one module, the organization's entire hostile environment, mapped, classified, quantified, and monitored. This didn't exist before the AI produced it. No consulting firm had done it. De Beers' own leadership hadn't done it. The methodology directed the AI to do it systematically, and the AI had the analytical capability to execute. Module 4. Learn the situation. The strategic theme. Module 4 is learn the situation. If Module 2 asks who are we, and Module 3 asks who oppose us, Module 4 asks what is the world we are operating in. Document 14 configures the strategic scene across 3 dimensions. Temporal, where are we in the conflict's timeline? Spatial, what geographic and institutional territories matter? And functional, what economic, technological, and cultural sectors are in play. For De Beers, the temporal finding is critical. The assessment places the company at a late shaping, early clash transition. The period of maneuvering and positioning is ending. Direct confrontation, the clash phase, begins in late 2026. Everything the company does or fails to do in the next few months determines whether it enters that clash prepared or paralyzed. Actors, factors, threats, trends. Documents 15 through 18 build the situational intelligence layer. Document 15 is a strategic actors and factors registry, a comprehensive inventory of every entity and environmental force affecting De Beers' strategic space. 28 hostile entities from Module 3, plus allied and neutral actors, plus environmental factors like regulatory frameworks, consumer demographics, and technology trajectories. 15 of 20 factors assessed as unfavorable, 75% of the environment working against De Beers. Document 16 is the threats and risks assessment matrix, a systematic identification of specific threats with probability, impact, and mitigation requirements. Document 17 identifies strategic trends, the long-term forces reshaping the competitive landscape. 9 major trends identified, including commoditization acceleration, transparency normalization, and ultra-luxury resilience. That last one matters. While the mass diamond market is collapsing under lab-grown pressure, the ultra-luxury segment above $10,000 shows different dynamics. Heritage, rarity, and craftsmanship still command premiums. This trend becomes the foundation of the entire strategy in Module 5. Document 18 determines strategic vectors, the net directional force of all trends combined. Overall, 65% unfavorable, but segmented by market tier. The ultra-luxury segment shows 60% favorable force. The strategy opportunity is inside the data, but only visible through systematic situation analysis that AI accomplished. Document 19 is the Strategic Situation Assessment Report, a synthesis reading the complete situation against the methodology's models. The assessment classifies De Beers strategic scene against the power monolith to power vacuum spectrum from Module 4. De Beers is positioned in a fragmenting environment trending toward power vacuum, the old monopoly structure disintegrating, new power poles emerging, and no single entity controlling the outcome. This classification has direct strategic implications. In a fragmented environment, concentration beats dispersion. You don't try to control everything, you secure one defensible position. Document 20 is the power poles and technologies inventory. 5 power poles identified: lab-grown producers, Botswana government, Anglo-American luxury conglomerates and technology platforms, each wielding different technologies of power. The AI maps technological asymmetries, where De Beers hold advantages, where enemies hold advantages, and where emerging technologies could shift the balance. 20 documents, 3 models, from an empty chat window to a complete analytical intelligence portfolio, strategic identity, hostile environment, and strategic situation, all cross-referenced, all building on each other, all auditable back to source evidence. What this means? Verification and quality. Now, the question any serious viewer is asking: how do you know this is accurate? 3 answers. First, evidence chains. Every enemy classification, every threat assessment, every trend identification cites specific sources with dates. When the assessment classifies Botswana as an escalating enemy, it cites President Boko's July 2025 statement, the February 2025 Botswana Sales Agreement teams, the Mining.com report on Botswana-Angola ministerial coordination. You can verify every claim. The methodology requires the AI to show its work, not assert conclusions. Second, cross-referencing. Document 4 identity findings feed into Document 5's enemy classifications. Document 8's capacity calculations reference Document 5's enemy list. Document 17's trends inform Document 18's vectors. Every document builds on the ones before it. If an early finding is wrong, it cascades visibly. You can trace the error. This is the opposite of a black box recommendation. Third, human verification. The methodology is designed so that a human strategist can verify each document against available evidence before proceeding to the next module. You don't accept the AI's output on face. You check it, correct it if needed, and then feed the verified output into the next stage. The AI does the analytical heavy lifting. The human provides judgment and verification. Is every finding perfectly accurate? No. Some assessments involve estimation and probability, market share projections, escalation timelines, capacity percentage. The methodology makes these estimates explicit and shows confidence levels, so you know exactly where certainty ends and estimation begins. What comes next? We have covered 3 models with 20 of 34 documents. The analytical foundation, what the organization is, who oppose it, and what the competitive reality looks like. In the next video, I'll show you what the methodology does with this intelligence. Module 5 takes these 20 documents and builds an executable strategy. Module 6 then turns around and grades the organization's ability to execute. Analysis tells you where you are. Strategy tells you what to do. Execution assessment tells you whether you can actually do it. That's the complete cycle, and you've just seen the first stage, built from scratch, by the Strategy by AI professional methodology. The complete De Beers portfolio, all 34 documents, is available for review at strategybyai.org. The methodology is available for purchase and immediate use. If you want to see the strategy formulation and execution assessment stages, where the analysis becomes action and the action gets graded, subscribe. That's the next video.